Okay, we are recording. Martins, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, do you know what? I actually got COVID yesterday.
Oh, man.
Actually found out that we should point out to the listeners that we're remotely recording this, actually. But yeah, I've managed to avoid it so far. And I just felt a little bit rubbish yesterday, and I thought I better do a test. And I was like, oh man, it's got me. So,
oh man,
but
how are you feeling today?
all right, really. Just a
Yeah.
bit of a cold. Just maxed up on the Lemsip, but feeling all right. Thanks, man.
Oh, good.
Where are you today?
I'm at home.
Where's that?
I'm at home. Home is Essex now.
Oh, whereabouts?
Yeah, Grays.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm glad I didn't know that. That's where I live.
Oh, is that where you live? Oh, yeah? Oh, wow.
I mean, let's not talk roads while we're recording this, but...
Yeah.
But, that's very surreal.
But it's very new, yeah. So I moved quite recently, actually.
Right.
Yeah. So from New Cross to Grays.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that when we finish recording. That's quite surreal. Okay, well, look, let's kick off your playlist. Well, no, actually, before we kick off your playlist, seeing as I've just found out I've got the lurgy, over the last 2 years of all sorts of disruption and craziness that has really, really impacted on the creative industries.
Yeah.
How did you find it, lockdown, both personally and professionally?
It's been a interesting navigating this situation that we all find ourselves in. So I've sort of tried to keep myself as busy as possible. I know a lot of people have been like saying that, you know, it's made them reflective and slow down, but I don't know, for me, it's hard for me to slow down sometimes. So I kind of kept myself busy with working out, checking in on friends, reading, and doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've just been like trying to not ignore it per se, but just try to still keep the momentum. Do you know what I mean?
100%. And I think that's been sort of key for lots of people. I know, to touch on what you said, there are lots of people have been reflective and looked back and kind of took stock of lots of things, but I'm kind of leaning more onto what you said. That was my approach as well, and not to ignore it, but I'd use different things to do, whether it be podcasting, whether it be going for a run, whether it be anything, as more of a distraction. Absolutely, to keep my brain kind of focused on something positive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there was a lot of, oh man, there was a lot of, I don't even want to say negativity, but there was just a lot of noise during that time, and I just had to sort of find a way to deal with it that's best for me, which is just to keep creative, keep going, keep engaged with something. Because the moment I start to sort of slow down and start wallowing, and it can become quite heavy.
Yeah, and it can be a slippery slope, you know. And I think you know, every opportunity you can to. And I see there's nothing wrong with distracting yourself. And, you know, this podcast comes out on a network called The Distraction Pieces, because the podcasts on there, I think, you know, whether you're creating them, whether you're guesting on them, whether you're listening to them, it's something that I think in a very fast-paced world now, where so much media is getting smaller and faster, down to where we're looking at on TikTok and things like that. I think there's something nice about a podcast that can be an hour where people put their headphones on, whether it's commuting at the gym, and it's that distraction for an hour. It'll take you away, because I don't think so many people listen to an album now. You know, I think so many people are just cherry picking tracks and whizzing through Spotify and such. And I think sometimes with podcasts, it does just have that. I don't know. I think it does something that lots of other medias don't do at the moment, which is just go, right, well, look, this is an hour. You know, are you on board? If so, put your headphones on and get you know, distract yourself for an hour, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that people can get lost in is your playlist today, which we'll talk about, and it will unfold as does this podcast. Track one, Martins. I want to know what song you regard as having the greatest ever intro.
The greatest intro for me was Rick Ross, Hustling.
Solid choice.
Yeah,
solid
man.
choice.
Oh man, that just gets you in the mood, doesn't it? It's like it's just the endorphins that it releases, man. From the first moment, it's just like I was listening to that the other day actually driving home, and I was just like, man, this was insane in the clubs. Yeah, people were literally like. It's escapism, isn't it? As 100%. Music is, it's just like it just gets you into that motivational place, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's a nostalgia hit as well, and that's obviously this podcast relies heavily on that, and it is that, like, when that song come on in your car, 100% guaranteed 4 or 5 memories of clubs, places, friends, instantly have just come straight to the forefront of your mind, you know.
Absolutely,
it's the beautiful thing about music. Well, I want to move forward. To track 2, because I want to kind of get a taste more of the kind of your backstory. So for track 2, I'm going to ask you to tell me the first song you remember hearing that had an emotional impact on you, please.
Yeah, Sizzler, Thank You Mama.
Yeah, what a record.
Yeah, what a record, man. And Sizzler has a way with these intonations and these inflections to just really like pull your heartstrings. There's something about how he gets lost in the song, and also like the appreciation for mothers, you know, like just universally. It's one of those universal things where anyone can relate to this, you know. Just, you know, 9 months of just putting up with you know, carrying a baby. Like, I don't know. It just made me very appreciative of my mom and everything she's been through, and like, she's got 4 of us, and she's just so devoted to her children. It's just insane.
When you hear that song, if you had to pinpoint the exact emotion, what would it be?
I think it's appreciation and emotion, but just, I think sheer love, just love.
Yeah.
I think, just the ultimate love, you know. Yeah.
Where was growing up, Martins?
Growing up, Southeast London.
Okay.
Southeast, yeah. Grew up
around
Lewisham Borough. Yeah, it was you're sort of forced to grow up quite quickly in a weird way. It's like you have the fun. I don't know, because I do know, because there was a lot of bravado, there's a lot of growing up, there's a lot of having to prove yourself, assert yourself as a man, but like not having anyone walk over you, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in school, there was a lot of having to assert yourself quite quickly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just either become a pushover, or, you know, the end of every joke, or so there's a lot of that.
Yeah. How did you deal with that?
I was quite lucky actually, where I had an older cousin who was quite notorious, and so due to affiliation, I was always kind of all right, you know, like, oh, you're so and so's cousin or whatever. So I was kind of okay, but I know that a lot of my friends didn't have that same sort of ticket, that same privilege, which was crazy, because you could easily be walking home with your mate, and then your mate gets his phone jacked.
Yeah. And
you're like, oh man, like, you just feel bad, don't you? It's there's nothing much you can do about that, you know.
And what about home? When you was at home, was it a musical home? Yeah.
I grew up in the church, so my family are very religious and Christian, and so we listen to a lot of, especially on Sundays, a lot of gospel tracks, a lot of Kirk Franklin, and
yeah.
So in the house there's constantly playing, church songs.
Yeah.
Was
you a creative kid?
Absolutely. I love drawing. Art was like my first love. So I'll get home, get all the papers out the printer, and just draw everything in the house. Very, very much into art. But it's funny because it was imprinted from young that art was a rich man's sport, like something you do once you've made it. So I was always encouraged to pick it, to always have it with me, but pick it up later. And once I've sort of either become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, it felt like a privileged thing.
Well, let's talk about creativity being encouraged and stuff, and let's move on to school. And first of all, if you can tell me the song that reminds you of your time at school, please.
The song that reminds me of my time at school is Dizzy Rascal, I Love You. Yeah, man.
Well, before we get on to school and teachers, let's talk about Dizzy and the impact and what that guy brought to the mainstream from a very underground scene. Tell me about the kind of impact that Dizzy had on you, and how early you was on board with that.
So yeah, man, Dizzy just had a lot of swag. He just had a lot of energy and swag, and almost like a carelessness. And he sort of made you feel a bit, I don't know, free spirited, it's that sort of bravado kind of vibe, but it was but lyrically he was just very skillful. And I think that sort of inspired me to want to sort of delve into doing a bit of grime and MCing and so yeah. And I remember a lot of my peers were also started MCing and writing lyrics and just taking on that sort of that sort of lifestyle.
Sure. Was you a confident kid?
Yeah, I was actually. I was quite confident. Yeah, quite self-assured.
Where do you think that come from?
I think that came from my dad. My dad's very confident. My dad's very knows who he is, and he always walked around with that sense of he wouldn't let anyone talk to him anyhow. Or, but he also was very loving. So my dad will stick his neck out for others and very generous. But at the same time, he just didn't take any crap from anyone.
That's a good balance to have, though, right?
Yeah, and it's amazing, seeing that. So seeing your dad have this very strict kind of strong nature and will, but also to be the most lovely, lovely man, But it's like knowing your power, isn't it? Knowing when to use it.
Sure.
Which is great.
Did you know what you wanted to be when you was at school?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a clue. I just liked messing around, having a good time, quite playful, cheeky. And then, and I don't know. It's funny because drama was always a way of having that freedom. I just wanted that playfulness and that freedom, and drama sort of allowed me to do that.
Did teachers pick up on it?
Yeah, but it's funny because so in secondary school, I got the lowest grade. I just barely passed performing arts, and that was due to behavior. So it was so interesting because they were saying you're really good, but because of behavior, we're going to mark you down. And looking back, I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but
yeah,
it didn't get in the way of my confidence, and I sort of went to college and did drama as well, and then my grades started to flourish because I was like, okay, there's actually a serious side to this. It's not just all fun and games, So yeah, and then I sort of found my feet in college, and then
you mentioned limitations that were maybe sort of put upon, people growing up where you grew up earlier. And did it ever feel, because acting, again, a lot of the acting industry can be quite privileged, and lots of people can come from very moneyed backgrounds in most creative, whether it be art, music, or acting. Did you ever question yourself insofar as, from looking at my background and where I grew up, do people excel in acting from where I come from? Who would you aspire to at this point?
Great question, man. Absolutely. I think about this a lot, actually. I remember looking out my window and just thinking, is this it? I was like, is this it? Is this going to be my life? And I sort of just had to change that. I just had to ensure that this wasn't it. Because I had a few friends or people I knew who are no longer here, or who got caught up in the wrong crowd and made the wrong choices. And I was very aware of that. So I was aware of how easy it is just to decide one day to meddle in something that's not for you. But I was very, very lucky that there was a youth art center called Second Wave, which I went to on Saturdays and some weekdays, and I just done drama and music. And there was a few creatives that went there who were able to sort of guide me. And I remember one of my pals, who's a good friend of mine, he ended up going to drama school. And I was like, wow, drama school, what is that, And he was just saying, if you want to become an actor, it's great to train and get some skills under your belt. And so I ended up aspiring to him. So his name is Lee Marriott Jr. and ended up going to drama school. And yeah, I just saw another life, another perspective, and another opportunity. And I just sort of, pursued that, really.
Are you driven?
Am I driven? Yeah. I would say I am. Very, very much driven. But I can be very lazy at the same time. Someone said this the other day. They said, there are people who are the most hardworking, lazy people. But, those people actually exist. And I think I'm one of them. Yeah. I think I can be so chilled about things. But maybe it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah. I think if you can get that balance from being driven and working hard and still being aware of when you don't want to do anything, that's a great balance to have. Just got to get that balance bang on though, otherwise it can go wonky either way.
Exactly.
Right, well, for the next track, I'm going to ask you the first record you remember buying from a record store.
The first song that I remember buying was...
I was going to say, I'm saying records, but it ain't going to be a record. It would have been a CD, wouldn't it?
It was definitely a CD. But So Solid Crew, 21 Seconds.
I mean, what a tune, right?
What a tune, man. That's timeless, should I say. And I remember when it first came out, and he was like, who are these guys, man? And I remember buying it and going to my mate's house, putting it on, and just vibes in. I think I first saw it on MTV Base before I bought it. Yeah. And I was like, no, this is something that needs to be in the house and bought. And yeah, it was just vibesy, man. It's just a great, great track, man. Great track.
You touched on MCing earlier.
Yeah.
And friends, but did you say that you got involved in it as well?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Part of a crew and everything.
How was it?
It was all right. I think we did one music video and it just never came out. We just never did anything with it. But it was nice. It was nice having that sort of escapism, isn't it? It's like being able just to talk rubbish.
Yeah.
And enjoy it. And but also lyricism is an amazing thing. I love lyrics. I love being able to write something down from a different perspective, or putting different words together. It's just, I find it so amazing.
Yeah. Do you write much still?
I do. I write a bit of like, I call it more reflective. So I write poetically, but how I feel or like what I'm going through. Or so every now and again, I'll just write on my notepads on my phone, and yeah, I enjoy it. I really do.
For no reason other than just to document it.
Yeah, just to document it. I might release something soon. I don't know. A friend of mine released a book where he just wrote poems, and I think maybe I might do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, let's move things forward to nightclubs. Track 5. Tell me the song, Martins, that soundtrack your year's clubbing. You're still a young man. You should still be clubbing.
Yeah, for sure, man. The song that soundtracked my years of clubbing, I'd say Gigs, Talking the Hardest.
Wonderful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there was something, I don't know, there's something about gangster rap that sort of was around when I was clubbing that, I don't know, Gigs sort of tapped into something quite new. And his voice, like, he's got that deep voice, that deep resonance, and you believed every word he said. He's one of those guys, he could be talking about anything, but you believe it. And I think just listening to someone who had that assurance and that sort of strength was just like, yeah, man, got you in the mood, man. Just got you in the mood. But I remember like going to house parties and the song will come on and everyone would just go crazy, just absolute crazy. And they'll wheel it up about 3-4 times.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those songs that you can't just play it once, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereabouts was clubbing outside of sort of house parties? Where would you go?
Outside of house parties? Where would I go? I'd go to Peckham, a few clubs in Peckham. Where else would I go? I think it was mainly house parties, but bars, more so bars, raving. I don't rave so much now, but there was a few places in the O2 back in the day that I don't even know if they still exist. I know there was a place called Thai Silk. There's a few other bars. But yeah, it was mostly like, there wasn't like a place that I'd go to like every Saturday, but it was more occasional. So if someone's birthday, then we'll go to a spot.
You a dancer?
Yeah, for sure. I love a dance, man. Yeah, man. I love it. I love it, man. I love it, man. And I'm not shy as well. So, you know, if it's only me on the dance floor, man, I'm having a good time.
Own it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, I'm going to take you home. And for track 6, I want a favourite song from an artist from your home county, please.
My home county, Burna Boy, yeah.
Where's home then?
Country?
Mm-hmm.
Country, Nigeria.
So you're born in Nigeria?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you got memories from then?
No, I was very small. So I was like 2 years old when we left. So I don't have much memory. But I have memories of going back there.
Yeah.
Which I don't go as often as I'd like to. But yeah, Nigeria is definitely where I identify as home.
Yeah. And Burna Boy, like legit superstar now, man.
So, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. Like he's just he's one of those guys who just ran with it, isn't it? He sort of found his groove, found his sound, and just like unapologetically just went for it. Like, and I love that he sort of mixes this sort of African and Caribbean sound very well. So you sort of get the best of both with his songs, and what I love is there was a quote, I think it was from the Grammys, but I think his mum said, but you know, one of the quotes was, no matter where you are in the world, if you're a black man, you're African. So I think it's just, no matter how much that the world tries to divide us or make us feel like, put us against each other, there's that common ground. There's that sense of like, we are one, you know, like there's that mutual respect. So we're not at war with each other. And I think that's a beautiful message to spread. And I think he does that. He captures that really well in his music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For the last track, this is when I'm going to ask you. You can be a tastemaker for this one, and a song that you think many people may not know that you would like them to hear, please.
So the song that many people may not know is called "Calming Storm" by Michael and Michelle. So Michael and Michelle are from Downton Abbey. Michael is a good mate of mine and great actor, but also he does music and he's a phenomenal musician. And I've been very blessed to work with him very closely for 3 years at drama school. And he's another guy who's very fearless and he's not pigeonholed. Sometimes when you're creative, the world tends to accept you for the thing they know you to do. So if you're an actor, it's like you're an actor. The moment you try to become a director, and if people go, hold on, and try to start to question it. So I love that he's able to pursue music and do acting at, with equal value and equal, commitment. So but it's a beautiful song. So it's their first song together. I don't know Michelle that well, but it's a very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful track.
I'd never heard it, and when I got your list over, I put it on, and obviously it's far different to everything else on your playlist. And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. And I was like, I'd not heard of them, and I was like, right, who is this? And then when I looked and realised it was two people that met on the set of Downton Abbey, and I was like, what a backstory. But why do you think there is that kind of stigma from the public or the press about, oh, okay, because we've seen it countless times with huge Hollywood stars like Keanu Reeves trying to launch a music career, Russell Crowe trying to launch a music, and it's like I mean, Jared Leto's obviously had success in his band, but it doesn't matter how famous you are. If you try and step outside the boundaries that the media and the public seem to have you kind of penned into, it's like, no, you've been successful in that. That's enough. You're not allowed. Why do you think that is? That like, if you try and step out of that, it's like, well, no, you can't do that as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fucked up. It makes no sense.
No, you're right. You're right. And it's frustrating. It's so frustrating because it gets in the way of people actually pursuing other things, and people are afraid of tarnishing what they've created. But I think it might be a case of love as well. Like some people fall in love with that thing. Yeah. And they go, oh, he's an amazing actor. He's made me feel this. Da, da, da. So the moment you start doing anything else, people are like, it's hot, it's unsettling. People go like, oh, it's a bit odd. Like for example, Idris Elba, who pretty much does it all. Some people are like, oh, maybe he should leave it alone, leave music alone. But you have to allow people to do what they love. You have to allow people to have a life. Kind of, you can't judge them for wanting to push themselves.
If people are creative and they've just got a burst of it, like who's to stand in their way?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And if you don't like it, don't listen.
Simple as that. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Well, what we do is we put together a Spotify playlist to accompany the podcast, so people can go and listen to all of the tracks that you've chosen today. As 2022 is gathering a bit of pace, and it's looking, hopefully, aside from what happens, I mean, we're recording this at a time a week into all sorts of horrific stuff that's happening in Ukraine. But aside from that, trying to look on a sort of staying positive, that the pandemic seems to have kind of, the laws around that have dropped, and it would appear that all the creative industries are starting to get back to what they once were. What are you looking forward to from 2022, and what are you going to be doing professionally?
2022, I'm looking forward to doing season 3 of Bridgerton. And I'm also looking forward to maybe doing some theatre.
Okay.
I haven't done theatre in a while, so creatively, I'd love to be able to be on stage again this year. But also, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is going to Nigeria. actually. I haven't seen my sister in a while and my dad. So I was going to go in December, but Nigeria was put on the red list and then taken off like a week after. And that was the week I was meant to go. So,
oh man,
that messed everything up. So I'm really looking forward to going to Nigeria this year.
Wonderful. Martin, it's been a real joy talking records with you, mate.
Absolutely, man. Likewise.
Thanks loads, man.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
Appreciate it, man.